Welcome back. In our last explainer, we started crafting what we're calling a Louis Vuitton habit tracker. Remember, the whole point is to build something that helps you get through that motivation valley while your brain is doing the hard work of rewiring itself.
And just as a quick recap, when you're building a new habit, you are literally rewiring your brain's circuitry. But for those first crucial weeks, you can't see that progress, and that's the motivation valley. Our app's whole job is to make your effort feel real and tangible, bridging that gap.
No, look, we could just fire up a tutorial and, copy-paste someone else's code. But that's the coder's trap, isn't it? You end up building something, but you don't really understand how it works. We are not doing that today. We're gonna avoid that trap completely.
So here's the mission for today. Grab a pen, grab some paper. Seriously, no computers allowed for this part. We are going to design the core logic, the absolute foundation of our app. We are building its invisible skeleton. This is the data model that's going to make it a unique brand, not just another cookie-cutter template.
And it all starts with this core design philosophy that I like to call the subtle bleed.
A lot of you mentioned you didn't want some jarring, sudden change the second you finish one little task. And you're right, that's not craftsmanship. Real quality, real elegance is always in the details.
This slide really nails the difference. Over on the left, you've got that generic, off-the-shelf thinking, right? A sudden jump from level 1 to level 2. But on the right, that's craftsmanship. It's a subtle, continuous action that feels organic, natural, and most importantly, earned.
So in practice, what we're building is what I call an alive UI. Every single time you complete a habit, you just get this little punch of color. It's not a big, flashy level up screen. It's just a subtle hint, a little whisper to your brain that says, hey, I see you. I see the work you're putting in.
The really important idea here is this process of continuous action. You finish a habit, you get that little punch of color, and you are literally feeding the interface with your effort. See, you're not just hopping between static levels. You're gradually preparing the app for its next full evolution. It's alive. And this brings us to what might be the most crucial idea of this whole project. I am not giving you a fixed design. I'm giving you a canvas. You are the creative director of your app. You get to decide exactly how it looks, how it feels, and how it evolves. This is all about getting your own creative juices flowing. I've put a couple of ideas up on the slide here. Are you gonna follow a nature path, where you grow from a tiny seed into a sprout? Or maybe you're more of a cosmic path person, evolving from a spark into a supernova. Or something else entirely. The final choice is 100% yours.
Okay, so this sounds cool, but how do we actually do it? We need to set our own rules. It's time to get practical and start mapping out the actual logic on that piece of paper. The logic for pretty much any app boils down to two really simple things: nouns and verbs. As you can see here, the nouns are just the things your app needs to remember. The habit you're tracking, the experience points you earn, which we'll call fragments, and your custom theme. The verbs? Well, those are the rules you get to design, the trigger points for that evolution.
So let's break those verbs down a little more. We're really talking about two kinds of rules. First, there's the small action. You finish a habit, and boom, a subtle color shift happens right away. Then there's the big evolution. You hit a milestone that you get to define. Let's say it's 50 fragments. And that is what triggers the full transformation to the next phase. And this whole process, it connects to a much, much bigger idea. By designing these rules yourself, you stop being just a coder. You're actually becoming an AI manufacturer. You're forging your own human fingerprint into the thing you're creating. This is a really fundamental shift in identity. An AI importer just takes whatever generic logic the AI spits out and calls it a day. But an AI manufacturer, well, they craft a system that responds exactly the way they want it to. They add their own unique value. And that right there is the key takeaway. You're not just building another checklist app. By thinking through the logic and designing these rules yourself, you are adding your unique human fingerprint. And that is what makes this a brand, not just another template. So just take a second and look at what we've accomplished. You've got a pen in your hand and you've got a plan on paper. You have just designed the entire logical foundation for a truly one-of-a-kind application. And this is so, so important. You are building the brain of your app before we even think about touching a single line of code. This thinking first philosophy is what separates the real pros from everyone else who's stuck in that coder's trap. So, what's next? Well, in our next explainer, we are going to use our Write It Right formula to translate the plan you just made into the perfect set of instructions for an AI. We'll tell it exactly how to build this custom engine, making sure we get the results we want. No garbage allowed. So I'm going to leave you with this question. If you were designing your rules right now, how many fragments would it take to evolve your seed into a sprout? Let me know what your custom milestones are down in the comments. I'd love to see them. I'll see you in the next one.